Of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Wednesday morning, progressives, and welcome to the January 21st, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com and follow me on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, Substack, and Spoutable. And you can catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Jonas Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. It's The Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath. Out Chicago and our other great shows and interviews. Make sure you hang out with our folks on the weekend. Edwin is one. Out Chicago. The other shows, most definitely hang out with the family meeting on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. That's part of the team too. And sometimes we have to remember our weekend shows. We want to make sure we're talking about them as much as possible. Making your way over to heartlandsignal.com. It's our digital newsroom platform. I always like to have feedback from you guys when you've gone to Heartland Signal and found an article or found a clip, found an article, whichever, and you've repurposed that. That's one of the things that we were saying we want you guys to do is to let us know when you do that. You see something that you find interesting there, hit me back or hit anybody else back and say, hey, that was a great article. That was a great post, because it means a lot to have, that kind of information out there. So today, crazy day. I'm here now for my show this morning, and then I'll be back this afternoon from 2 to 5, filling in for Joan. And so that'll be a fun day, a full day. Henry just looked at me. He's like, man. But so I'll be sitting in for Joan this afternoon from 2 to 5, and I'll be taking your calls as best we can. We got a full slot of guests on today's show, so I'll keep you posted. I'll read you the information on all that later in my show today. And speaking of today's show, who's going to be hanging with us? Jody Martin, who is, she writes an article on Substack. It's called The Snarky Correspondent. And Jody and I have been following each other for a while, and she posts some great stuff. But boy, did she drop the hammer yesterday. And I was like, I got to reach out to her and say, we got to have you on. Initially, Henry, my brain was like, I'm going to read her article and then talk about her article. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get Jody on because I want her to talk about her article because she's the one that wrote it. But I did reach out to her because I try to do the right thing. I reached out and I said, hey, Jody, listen, that was a bomb diggity article, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. But if you're interested, if you'd like to be on and we can talk about it together, let's do that. And she said, yeah, absolutely. So she's going to be with us sometime after 6:30 this morning, sometime 6:30, 6:40, to talk about her article and some other stuff. So it's going to be cool hanging out with her. 7 o'clock, Kurt Mullett, Hoosier Blue 63. It's Wednesday. He will be with us, so I'm really looking forward, as always, to chopping it up with Kurt. And then author and journalist Adam Klasfeld will be with us in the 7:30 hour. So I'm be doing a lot of talking today and interviewing and listening and brain working today, Henry. So throw me a life raft if needed. If you see me fading, throw me a life raft. But no, Henry complimented me on doing 2 shows today, and I said, like always, and I know you guys hear me when I say this, and I appreciate you guys stepping in and stepping up. And that's make sure that when you call in on any of our shows, Monday through Sunday, that you always give a shout out to our engineers. Henry, Lady B, to Maddie B, of course, to Devin, to Mike, to Paul, Whitney, make sure you give them some love, because I'm telling you, without them, no matter how well we know how to run a few things and push a few buttons, they keep it right. So doing 2 shows is doable, but it's not doable without the wonderful engineers and team that we have here at WCPT. So always show them some love, because we would not be able to do what we do without them. So on today's show, we know what's happening. We've got Jody Martin hanging out with us in a little bit. But for right now, I want the question is, what are our representatives doing and saying? Well, check this out, progressives.
First, your reaction to these reports that more than 1,000 active duty troops are on standby for this possible deployment to Minnesota.
Anna, I think it's a really dangerous situation. Already what we heard in Minnesota on Friday and over the last couple of weeks that everything has been happening is that the ICE and CBP agents are making Minnesota less safe, not more safe. Now you add in the threat of a militarized force that has so rarely been used on American soil against civilian protesters who are exercising their First Amendment rights. And you essentially create even more of a tinderbox than we already have. And I think what is important is that the residents of Minnesota understand that Trump is trying to get them to incite all kinds of violent protest. And they are very disciplined. They are peaceful protesters exercising their constitutional rights. It is a terrible, terrible violation of an abuse of power, of the presidential power to send in these federal troops on top of the ICE and CBP agents.
That was Representative Pramila Jayapal, who I really appreciate her service. I really do, Henry. There's just something about her. I think it's her temperament. She goes to, how do I want to phrase this when I think about it? She goes to where the issues are. When she's sitting in the halls of Congress in a committee meeting, she's right there. She's speaking her mind. And when one of her true colleagues on the Democratic Party has something to say, she's right there to support them. She also goes to the places where things are happening, where her voice needs to be heard. So she doesn't just hang out in her state. She's been here in Chicago when we were, infiltrated with ICE agents. And so, that's one of the things, Henry, that I really dig about her is she makes a point of being, quote unquote, where the action is and speaking up. So that was Representative Pramila Jayapal on Ana Cabrera's show on MS News. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about some things that I think are happening, or that I want you guys to know that are happening when we come back from the break. But those kinds of the content of what she's saying is so incredibly important. I want everybody to stay safe and stay patient, but be out and protesting. She wants everybody to do the same thing. Be safe, but be out and protest. Because and Joe Walsh was with us yesterday, Henry, and we talked about, we have to do it in a safe, prudent manner, but the voices can't be silenced. And that the actions that we have to be out there. And I know there's folks, I have to kind of balance this a little bit. I know there's people that say, well, I've done everything I can. What else can I do? Well, the thing that you shouldn't do, I believe, and I say this respectfully, is to remain silent. Find the tools. There are tools that are out there to use. Not everybody can go to a protest physically. Neither should they. But, a good example is we had 150 people, from what I understand, maybe a little bit more, that showed up here. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? I think it was yesterday, that were protesting here in Chicago in this cold A weather about ICE. So you do what you can do, but don't not do anything. If you're struggling with what can I do to let my voice be heard or let people know that I'm supporting them, pick up the phone. There's 2 levels of calls you can make. One, I'll give you an example. Here in Chicago, we have wards and we have city council people. Call that office and ask what's going on in the city in our ward that I can get involved in to help in this process, to be part of the pushback if ICE shows up in my neighborhood, in my ward. we'll take, the top 10 blue cities in the country. If wherever you are in this country, if you're in a city like that and we're on the list of the Trump administration wanting to come after us, and I say us, not y'all, us, then find out from your local politicians, your mayor's office, your city officials, where you can go to be supportive if you want to physically go and do like our friend Karen Byrne has done in Broadview and many others have. Find out where you can go, or find out what area might need support. Hell, buy a bag of whistles if that's what it takes. But don't be silent, y'all. That's what they want us to be silent. They want us to. I mean, when you I don't know if you guys saw this press conference with some of the Minneapolis police chiefs. One of their own was out off duty filming with her cell phone ICE, and an ICE agent walked up to her and knocked the phone out of her hand. Her colleagues, her senior officers all stepped up at a press conference and said, we support law enforcement because we are, but that's unacceptable. So whatever it is, find out in your community what it is that they need you to do or want you to do or think it's best for you to help out with. And it could be something, as I said, as nuanced as buying a bag of whistles and dropping them off at a person's office that's leading the charge physically. But do not be silent. Please don't be silent, y'all. Henry, let's take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Are you looking to get that new computer so you can do great things like surf the web, find Heartland Signal, and stream WCPT? Let's look at some computer companies that support the Democratic Party. Lenovo donates $56,000 to the Democratic Party in 2024. That's 89% of their donations. While Hewlett-Packard, or HP, donated $383,000 to the Democratic Party, as well 89% of their donations went to Democrats. Apple donated $4,701,347 to the Democratic Party. Microsoft donated $5,397,633 to Democrats in 2024, while Sony donated $1,268,000 to the Democratic Party in 2024. That was 95% of their donations, everybody. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Yes, this is Choose Views with Richard Chu. 773-763-9278. Lines are open. Give us a call if you got something to say. Yell at me if you need to. Choose Views here on this January 21st, 2026. Let's get them with a couple quick things, Henry. Warner Brothers Discovery Board of Directors has signed off on a new all-cash takeover from Netflix yesterday. Netflix will now pay $27.75 per share for cash for the entertainment giant. Its previous bid was a mix of cash and stock. The deal's overall value remains the same at $72 billion. WBD shareholders are expected to vote on the deal by April. The company said, and an updated to prove that the deal is attractive for those mulling it over. The Paramount deal is stalling. The reason I talk about this is because I can't stand the fact that Ellison and Barry Weiss are doing everything they can to control media. So we're going to talk about this one. I don't need Netflix to be perfect, but I want to see the Ellisons not get Paramount. There you go. Just in case you wonder where I sat on that issue. Everyday Americans are bearing the brunt of U.S. tariffs. We said it was going to happen. Americans are getting hit the hardest by our own country's tariffs, according to new research from the Cato Institute for World Economy. The German think tank analyzed $4 trillion of shipments between January 2024 and November 2025, and found that American importers and consumers absorbed 96% of the tariff impact. A conclusion that's backed up by recent reports out of Yale and Harvard. Essentially, said the Kiel researchers, the tariffs have become a consumption tax on Americans, just like Pam on the West Side has said, and that's likely to drive higher inflation going forward. And so here's what's interesting, Henry. People pick on Yale and Harvard, Stanford sometimes about being these, highbrow institutions, blah, blah, blah. I don't see a predominantly sort of red state university coming out with any report supporting that the tariffs are going to be beneficial. Do you know what I mean? So let's take a state where they have a university that might be more right-leaning. How come Liberty University? We can just go right there. How come Liberty University hasn't come out with a report that says, here's why the tariffs are going to benefit Americans and Trump is right? Because we know Liberty University is right-leaning. I wonder why. Business leaders share their priorities and outlooks from Davos. Leaders in business and government are gathered in Switzerland for the annual World Economic Forum, as we've been hearing about, with this year's meeting focused on geopolitical cooperation, economic growth, workforce skills, AI investment, and climate and nature. Attendees at Davos are taking to LinkedIn to share their priorities and outlooks related to these themes, including implications for professions and professionals globally. China buys enough U.S. soybeans to reach the trade target. China is buying U.S. soybeans in bulk again, easing trade tensions between the two world powers. Beijing has purchased roughly 12 million tons of crop over the last 3 months, according to Bloomberg, fulfilling a pledge stated by the White House to meet that goal by the end of next month. The purchases ended a boycott that began in the fall during a dispute over tariffs. So we'll see how that plays out. And embracing dry January, be prepared to spend big. Dry January is getting more expensive, pushing some participants to questioning whether it's even worth the effort, according to the Wall Street Journal. The trend began in the UK as a UK public health campaign back in 2013, but it's become popular in the United States as both a wellness initiative and a way to save some cash after holiday spending. But the mocktails that are going out are in some cases $20 in places. Dry January isn't quite the savings bonanza it once was, driving some fans to stick to water and soda instead. Last but not least, Bank of America staff gets a $1 billion in equity bonus after the bank's big year. For the 9th year in a row, Bank of America's strong profits are a boon to its employees. The financial institution announced yesterday it will award roughly $1 billion in equity, nearly $19 million of shares in common stock to its entire staff, except for senior managers. The news comes days after B of A said it exceeded its estimates in fourth quarter profit, buoyed by Wall Street deal making and federal deregulation. So, share. That's what I talked when we were talking yesterday with. I just drew a blank, y'all. Sorry about that. We were talking yesterday with Jeff Cohen about the importance of having more wealth shared from corporations. It benefits the company because it benefits the employees. It's kind of a circular good thing. But there you go. So a couple of Choose Views news items on this January 21st, 2026. Okay. I said that there's something that I want to talk about. It's kind of a two-part thing. Sorry about that. So, there are two newly elected governors that we talked about a lot in terms of elections back in the fall. One of them is Ms. Spanberger in Virginia and Ms. Sherrill in New Jersey. So, just as a reminder, see, doesn't get covered readily and strongly enough in our corporate media. They made some campaign promises, or certainly they ran on certain things. One of them from Governor Spanberger was that she was going to make sure that law enforcement wasn't flipping and becoming involved with ICE support. So she's banned law enforcement essentially entangling themselves with ICE and Border Patrol. It's an executive order it's the first executive order that she signed. not to be outdone, not that it's about that, but Governor Sherrill in New Jersey, you know, kind of the same thing. She came right out of the gate and made it clear that she was going to kind of hold on to some of her campaign promises. And she signed an executive order to address affordability. And as promised, her first executive order is freezes electricity rate hikes in the state and promises to provide some stability. Her second order was to declare a state of emergency to create and expand the multiple programs to develop new power in the state of New Jersey. So right out of the gate, both of them get to work and they do the things that they were asked to do by the people that voted for them. So the lesson learned is Democrats that get elected to offices, the folks that are running for re-election and the people that are new to office, newly elected. When you get there, it's like I asked yesterday when we were talking with Jeff Cohen. So what are you going to do when you walk in the door? This I'm a freshman congressperson no longer applies. You got to be ready to hit the ground running and get some stuff done. Don't sit in the back of the room quietly. And so in both of these cases, both of these governors have done that. They came in the door ready to get stuff done. I'm saying to all Democratic candidates and those who are running for re-election, you got to be ready to come in the door. And if you're return through the door and get stuff done. None of this, let's kind of wait and see. Let's get our feet, kind of get our grounding. I mean, no, that can't be the case anymore. And I think the more that our folks come in the door ready to do stuff, make stuff happen, the better. And so kudos to both of those newly elected governors for that. So one of the things that I noticed that's happened over the last couple of days, a little bit of a shift, but again, about doing stuff and being involved. Former President Barack Obama has posted some his thoughts about Dr. King, the late Dr. King, and some of the things that Dr. King accomplished and worked hard to accomplish and to bring to the mind of American citizens and the world, frankly. And there's been people out there, Henry, taking pot shots at former President Obama, saying, where is this guy? Why is he not speaking up about the terrible things that are going on in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and where, does he not realize that it's the tragedy and the harm and all that's going on, and why isn't he speaking up more on this? Well, let me just say something. I'm frankly tired of people going after Barack Obama at any measure, but right now particularly. I don't care if you're on the right, in the middle, or on the left. And let me tell you one of the biggest reasons why. When it comes to what we have right now, which is why I didn't fully agree with the statement that was made by Mayor Biss of Evanston. What's happening right now ain't Barack Obama's fault. It ain't Joe Biden's fault. It ain't Kamala Harris's fault. It ain't Bill Clinton's fault. How about turning your energy, if you're running for office, on what you're going to do to help people when you get into office, rather than blaming those 4 Democrats for what's happening right now? Rather than do that, and so for some of the strategists that are out there, whether they be West Coast, Midwest, or East Coast, or Southern, stop saying what Barack Obama may not have said about what's happening in Minneapolis, and maybe focus your attention on the 57% of white women voters who voted for Donald Trump. Maybe focus on the fact that we got a jacked up electoral college that we need to fix by getting people in office to change that. Maybe focus on the GOP, who isn't doing a damn thing, and they got the levers of power on a federal level. How about that, strategist? How about that, corporate media? How about that, candidates that are running for office? You need to stop going after Joe, Barack, Kamala, and Bill. I'm tired of hearing that garbage. Why didn't they say this? Well, when the hell didn't you say something? What are you doing specifically to reawaken the 52, 56, and 57% of white women voters, 16, 20, and 24, that voted for this garbage? And why aren't you putting your message out to them about what they may or may not be doing to correct that behavior and go after the people in their own communities that are not standing up and yelling and fighting about this garbage that's going on in Minneapolis and the rest of the country? I'll probably have to cover this again at some point, Henry, because somebody's going to say something and I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm tired of that garbage. Please shut up on that. If you're going to say something about how we go forward. And if you're going to criticize that behavior, criticize that group of voters, criticize the GOP, talk about what we can do to fix the Electoral College or get rid of it. But don't be going after Barack. Don't be going after Joe. Don't be going after Kamala. And don't be going after Bill anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. Just stop it. Just stop it. He was celebrating Dr. King's legacy. And y'all want to find a reason to go after him for not saying something about Minneapolis. Where were you when he was telling us? And where were you when she was telling us? And Joe was telling us, and Bill was telling us that re-electing this dude would cause us exactly what we're going through right now. Where were you then? All right, sermon's over. Let's go to break. 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM. For Warren County, North Carolina, I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back. WCPT 820 will be hosting a candidate forum for the 3 leading candidates for Illinois' open United States Senate seat in the Democratic primary on February 6th.
Please join us at the Plumbers Hall at 1340 West Washington in Chicago, or listen to the live broadcast.
Representative Raja Krishnamurthy, Representative Robin Kelly, and Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton will be discussing their stances on the issues and making their case for your vote.
WCPT hosts Patty Vasquez, Richard Chu, and of course Jonas Esposito will be moderating the forum.
To attend in person, go to heartlandsignal.com/WCPT820 and register. We'll have limited seats available, so please register early.
Meet the leading Senate Democratic candidates at a free WCPT Live Candidate Forum at Plumbers Union Hall, Local 130 on Washington Street in Chicago, Friday, February 6th.
The forum starts at 1 p.m. and is sponsored by Plumbers Union Local 130.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme cold watch will go into effect here early Friday morning. We're looking at a few spotty snow showers at times here for today, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high in the lower 30s. Winds out of the southwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. Tonight, a chance for some snow, areas of blowing snow likely with cloudy skies, a low near 13. Thursday, a slight chance for snow, late a high of 25. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
He's not here to yell. He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot. This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Well, maybe I did yell a little bit before we went to break. Maybe I hopefully informed, and I sure as hell believe I stirred the pot. So there you go. Thank you, 708, for your amen. All right, a couple of things. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, I'll be in for Jonas Esposito talking to Rachel Bidikoff, editor of The Cycle on Substack and author of Hit 'Em Where It Hurts, How to Save Democracy by Beating Republicans at Their Own Game. Aurora Mayor John Lash will be with us. Aaron Kleinman, head of research at Heartland Signal. Hal Sparks, host of the Hal Sparks radio program on WCPT. And Senior Director of Federal Budget Policy at the American Center for Progress, Bobby Kogan. That's Live, Local, and Progressive today, 2 to 5 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal, and tune in. Spread the word. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Missouri Democratic House Minority Leader Ashley Amen. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal. Tune in, YouTube, and Facebook. Tomorrow on Choose Views, my guest will be Benjamin Goldhagen, disinformation expert and director of the 2025 documentary, The Steel Porcupine. We've had Benjamin on before and really has a lot to say about what's happening in the Ukraine. Dr. Anthony Douglas, trauma surgeon at the University of Chicago Hospitals, one of the lead organizers behind the responsibility in firearm legislation. And then Nathan Taylor from Election Truth Alliance will be with us. You guys have been hearing us talk about the debate, the WCPT Senate Candidate Forum with Raja Krishnamurthy, Governor Juliana Stratton, and Representative Robin Kelly. So congressional folk and one of our state leaders in terms of our lieutenant governor. It's happening Friday, February 6th at 1 p.m. I'll be moderating the forum along with Joan Esposito and Patty Vasquez. If you want to attend the event, it's free. Visit heartlandsignal.com/forum. You can register today. You should, because seating is limited. We want to see you guys come out because that impacts all of us here in Illinois and, frankly, the rest of the country. These are big races, particularly the Senate race. But they're all important. So let's, when we talk about this Senate debate, the reason that it's important for you guys to be plugged in is because it's a statewide election. And it's a federal seat. So let's see. Make sure you make your way over to Heartland Signal for our full interviews and full episodes, I should say, and featured interviews for Choose Views. They're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, TuneIn, iHeart, YouTube, Amazon Music. Search for Choose Views or visit our new podcast page at heartlandsignal.com/podcast to get all the latest. And, of course, our candidate interviews. Make sure, we've got midterm elections 11 months away. So we're posting all of our candidate interviews at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. So make your way over there. And, guys, again, I say this every day. Pass it on to folks that you know. Just say, hey, listen, check out this heartlandsignal.com website. Because a lot of people, that might be the thing that you do to get involved or to be involved. It's just pass information on. And the folks at our digital platform, Henry's nodding, the folks at our digital platform, they work hard. They put the work in. So pass that on to folks that you know. So there you go. All right, guys. We're wasting resources on this conversation around Greenland. Just like ICE is a waste of resources, the way in which it's currently configured. Representative Dan Goldman was on, I believe it was MS News, talking about the waste of money and it should be torn down to the ground and rebuilt. I don't disagree with that. So here we go. A couple of clips and discussing Greenland and the moves that just are believable but unbelievable. Let's go with the first one from Senator Gallego.
You've called President Trump an idiot for his push to take control of Greenland, and you've said that Congress can't take any chances of allowing that to happen. You've met with the foreign ministers of both Denmark and Greenland this past week. How are they reacting to President Trump's threats?
Look, they're shocked, and they're trying to find reason within what's happening here. And I tried to explain to them there is no reasoning. Right, the president just wants to have a legacy piece where he gets to claim that he brought in this big chunk of land that he sees on the map, even though it's distorted map, and he's willing to ruin our whole foreign policy, all of our alliances, our economy, just so he could get what he wants. This man is doing everything for himself and nothing for us. Even the idea of buying it, we're going to spend billions and billions of dollars, potentially $500 billion, which is never going to happen. But right now we can't even afford health insurance for U.S. citizens, and we're talking about buying land. And let me just say one more time. Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark and Greenland has said, we will give you everything you want, short of giving you possession of our land. You want more bases, you get more bases. You want to put more people, you get it. The idea that we're going to waste money for everything we want is the dumbest decision we can make. The only person who can make a decision this dumb is someone that would actually let a casino go under. And guess who's president right now?
There you go. That's exactly the case. So it's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources, as I said. And, let's spend our energy, again, going after how do I put this all together? We need to go after folks that are not here the right way of any community. See, this is the problem. Everybody talks about this in terms of a southern border issue, and Biden left the border open. No, he didn't. Biden had a bipartisan bill ready to go, but Johnson and Trump squashed it. So blame that on the Republicans. Don't blame and the Speaker of the House. Don't blame that on Biden. Perfection, not there. Needed to be. I don't know if perfection is achievable. Better, without a doubt. But spending $170 billion to go into cities to do what? Root out people? No, you're not going to convince me that that's the smart move. Just like this thing with Greenland. It's like Senator says, it's a dumb A move. We could spend... I'm going to be on this for a while, because Greenland, while people are struggling to take care of the things that they said, the GOP in its entirety, they were there going to go to Washington and fix, they haven't fixed a damn thing. But we're talking about Greenland. Let's go to, I guess we're going to shift gears. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, that we had I had one of those moments where someone that I know posted some information. I'm like, we got to get you on the show. I was reading, content, reading information, and I came across this post on Substack, which is why I'd say to you guys, you got to, check out the things that are out there. You'd be surprised what you find. So, the title of this post, this article is "Greenland is not for sale." You absolutely freaking walnut. That's not the words that this young lady decided to use. She got a little salty. So who am I talking about? Talking about Jody Martin. Good morning, Jody, and welcome to Choose Views on WCPT.
Hey, Richard. I'm so sorry for my voice. I'm getting over a little something, but I'm excited to be here.
Well, yeah. Go drink some hot tea and lemon and honey. And
yes.
That old school remedy. A bunch of it. Well, welcome to the show. I'm glad you could hang out with us for a little bit this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, I was reading through some stuff and I came across your post and your article, and I just cracked up laughing. I was like, okay, I definitely got to talk about this tomorrow. And with the header being the clip from Senator Gallego. And then as I was reading through it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is too good. I may have to reach out to Jody and see if she'd like to be on for a little bit this morning to talk about this
I love that.
wonderful article that you wrote. So obviously, guys, read the article. It's called "Greenland is Not for Sale." You absolutely blanking walnut. She's referring to Donald Trump. But as you read through this article, you'll see she talks more in depth about the GOP, but others. So Jody, I'm not going to take away, your thunder. I know your voice is acting up a little bit, but tell us a little bit about what was in your mind, what was in your heart, what were you thinking when you were saying, okay, I gotta put something together in this space.
I swear, I started writing this Substack just out of frustration because it was either that or start punching walls, and that wouldn't have been a good solution. And it's been very therapeutic to write these things just because I'm angry like, everybody else. It's like you name one day, what else are we going to be angry about? What else are we going to just need to fight about? It's just absolutely nuts. I kind of feel like we live in an Orwellian novel these days. Just the mere fact that this man just thinks he can do absolutely everything, but that he has all of these Republican enablers, and somehow it's okay. I can't even imagine if a Democrat tried to do this. And so I just went off and just started writing and playing around with it, just in terms of this particular subject. When I heard that on the news, I had been working from home that day, and I started laughing. And I'm like, this is nuts. This is not true. But just the mere fact, just everything to do with it between tariffs and this and that. And I'm like, I've never thought of tariffs as being used as necessarily economic coercion or whatever. I think the mere fact that it's just so absurd that he just, snaps his fingers or says whatever he wants. He rambles on like a prison letter and everybody's fine with it. It's just so nuts. There's a lot going on in my brain. I know, it's just endless.
One of the things that I can tell you that I like, and one of the statements you make in this article is you cannot tariff your way into owning other people's land. And that is such a great sentence in your piece. and one of the things that I've been saying a lot, Jody, is when it comes to, tariffs particularly, but specifically as it relates to communities, if we took that money that's been allocated for ICE, for example, how much good could actually be done in the communities that the administration is trying to say ICE needs to be in? I mean, how much strength would there be in that effort? And then when you throw the conversation around, Greenland into the mix, and we're going to spend money and other resources on, to your point, trying to own other people's land, to what end? When we could be spending those resources on bettering the people's lives here in this country, many of which voted for him. And that's another reason why your article just resonated so much with me. But talk a little bit about what you see, in terms of the response from Greenland. What sort of captivated you there in terms of what Greenland is doing in terms of how they're pushing back, and some of the global support that's coming from other countries right now?
Well, I absolutely love the fact that basically everybody is, I can't use my terminology. I will be a lady. I basically, they are just standing up and they are banding together. I mean, literally, it's just like you've got this bully in the playground, but all the other kids are saying no.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of oversimplifying it, but that's in my little head, because I'm no expert. I just have a very big mouth, well, normally, not maybe today, but it just really seems like people are, the countries rather, they're just really standing up for themselves and saying, no, this is not going to happen. And so it'll just be interesting to see what really parlays from all this as this really unfolds. I'm curious. I'm nervous. I mean, like we all are, because, as you were saying, it's like all of this money, all this effort could be really thrown into really helping our communities, because there are so many people, myself included, who could potentially lose their insurance depending on how certain people vote. These people are losing their farms, they're losing this, they're losing that. And they're just like, oh, I didn't think it was supposed to happen to me. And I'm like, well, what did you think was going to happen? But everybody else is standing up, so it's just confusing. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that way. It's just mind-boggling to me.
We're going to take a quick break, let you have a chance to kind of get some break on that throat of yours. The number is 773.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM, and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
I worked all day updating my office on what's going on with ICE agents. These are animals. There's video of them tasing a man who was already zip tied in a vehicle, and they tased him because what? They didn't like the way he was behaving, or he was already zip tied. Not to mention a 1-year-old who was exposed to tear gas as her parents were running errands, as they were also, by the way, chasing down an 11-year-old girl. I'm not going to say I'm sorry for calling them animals who won't even share their badge numbers, their names, or their faces with us. Spare me for their protection, as though there aren't judges, police officers, FBI, all the different areas of law enforcement and our justice system who do put themselves on the line. We've had judges whose families have been killed in their homes. So you're telling me that an ICE agent is feeling a little bit, are they feeling vulnerable?
Keep listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. 773-763-9278 is the number. Had one of those moments where I read something. I saw someone that I follow that follows me on social media and has posted some great articles in the past, but this one particularly struck me, I think, because of the title of it. Greenland is not for sale, you absolute freaking walnut. And it's not freaking that she uses. It's the full F word, just to let you know. So check it out. Jody Martin is with us this morning, who decided to get that voice in gear to kind of chat with us a little bit about a wonderful post, an article that she wrote for put on Substack that you guys should check out. This Davos meeting, Jody, that's going on right now, and all the things that I'm hearing from so many people, leaders across the globe that are just their patience has run out. And you talk a little bit about that, why NATO's allies are officially out of blanking patience. Talk about that and what you meant and what you were saying in the piece.
Well, it just in my humble opinion, so when he goes in there and he's trying to escalate his threats and all that, and I feel like he's really pushing things a lot even harder, I feel like, than he used to. And it's almost like he always is tweeting and doing weird things, at all crazy hours. And I just feel like he's even doubled down on that stuff, or doubled down publicly, and just like everything he's been saying, like there's no going back. We're going to do this or else. Nobody has a choice. I mean, he's really just become like this absolute dictator. And I just kind of, I understand why they're just kind of like, you have all these beautiful, or maybe not necessarily beautiful, but all of these diplomats, if you will, whether you like them or not, they actually understand what it is to lead and what it is to negotiate and what it is to actually sit down and come up with some sort of solution without saying it's my way or the highway. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it. But, I mean, it's just interesting that even, like, Macron, who I thought, weren't they supposed to be buddies? Well, he's not even happy. It's just, I mean, he's just even setting up people who I feel like he considered to be allies. It's just interesting. I mean, I guess, like I said, we're going to see all this craziness unfold, because I feel like Europe is just really pushing back.
Yeah.
I think even stronger than before.
Well, I think I would agree with you there, and let me just read to you guys a couple things that Jody highlighted in her article, in terms of NATO allies being running out of patience. And here's a way of looking at it. NATO exists for mutual defense, not to soothe one man's pathological need to own things that do not belong to him. Threatening tariffs against allies weakens collective security, pushes Europe to coordinate without the United States, hands propaganda wins to Russia and China on a silver blanking platter, makes the U.S. look unstable, unserious, and governed by vibes. That's spot on. This is how alliances died, not in betrayal, but in loud, petulant stupidity. Another part of the article that I thought was really powerful. Let's call this what it is. This isn't strength. This isn't America first. This isn't even strategy. This is imperial cosplay powered by grievance, where tariffs replace diplomacy and allies are punished for the unforgivable crime of saying no. Greenland is not for sale. Allies are not property, and threatening NATO countries because they won't indulge a land grab fantasy is banana republic behavior with nukes. If this is leadership, then leadership has officially been reduced to a tantrum with a balance sheet and zero adult supervision. In the words of so many great ministers preach, Jody.
Oh, what? Oh, me? Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh. I'm looking at this again. Every time I read it, I start cracking up. But then you just kind of want to cry, because you're like, well, there is no supervision for this man. It's so frightening.
One of the things that I've been speaking a lot to a lot of last year and certainly this year, and I'm really going to continue to lean into this really hard this year, is I'm tired of Democrats of any make going after Democrats to score points right now. It's a little late in the game to be going after Democrats, where we right now need to hold the line. And even Joe Walsh, former Republican who was on yesterday, said, yeah, Richard, I agree. Yeah. We can't be going after ourselves right now. We have to be going solely after the GOP, because they're the ones that are propping up this behavior. Yeah, we know we got stuff to fix. There's no lie there. We don't have to keep going over that. And we know that. But right now, what we have to fix, what we have to push for is, like you do in the article, is point out the insanity of this. Greenland is an example. ICE is another one that we have to make sure that we're fighting against them, not against ourselves. And so, you know, at any point, any corner we turn right now, Jody, it has to be about the GOP is propping this up. The GOP, if they wanted to shut this down, and what cracks me up, I mean, death threats against your family is one thing. I get that could cause you to pull back a little bit. But sans death threats to your family, I mean, the GOP they're just punking out, to be honest. I mean, they just are. You're worried about what Donald Trump's going to do to you? He's never done a damn thing to anybody. He's no, a pillar of strength. And yes, he's the president. I get all of that. But how powerful would it be for the GOP to come together and say, do a press conference and say, you know what? Here's how he's been trying to threaten us. The 50 of us right here have all received death threats because of us pushing back on what this president's doing to hurt the country. How powerful would that be? But they just don't have the will to do it. And
it's mind-boggling because I'm thinking, and I was thinking about this, and I know a lot of folks. I even heard Stephanie Miller, obviously, because her father was during the Nuremberg trials and all this other jazz. And during that time, the Republicans, his friends, called him out and said, "You need to resign." But it's like, does Donald Trump actually have any friends? I'm thinking there are parallels, but there are so many distinct differences. But they don't, like I think you said, they don't have a spine. Well, it doesn't seem like they have a spine, or maybe someone has something on him or on them or whatever. And the only ones who are saying anything, I'm like, oh God, I never thought in a million years. I was like, Jesus, did I just agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'm like, oh my God. It's like, what world do I live in? I was in shock when I agreed with Liz Cheney. I'm like, don't make me do that. But here I am. But, it's like, it's crazy. But they're leaving anyway. So does it mean anything?
Yeah. Well, and for folks that are listening to me and listening to Jody this morning, don't get me wrong. I understand that many of the Republicans they're sitting by and endorsing this, and it's not that they don't have the spine. They're kind of sitting back and enjoying that this is happening because they're not going to get primary. They're not going to be, unfortunately, a real challenge in their particular district congressionally. So I understand that there's a large number of Republicans that are down with this. But there are people, and really who brought this to my attention is Congresswoman Robin Kelly when she said, Richard, we know that there are Republicans who clearly don't agree with this. We've talked to them, but what's happening is that they won't say it publicly because they are worried about the threats. So I think that the one-off is a bad way to do it. I think collectively, whatever that number is, should en masse come out and then speak to what's not happening. Because at the end of the day, they should be looking at this as being Americans rather than just being Republicans. But that's me. Maybe I'm, I just see it that way.
I would have to agree with you. I just think, and I think if anybody's doing something that they're not supposed to, I'm making it very simple. God, it's hard because there is not one Republican that I actually admire. Okay, maybe a former one. In the case you talked to Mr. Walsh, it was actually quite funny. But I love that. I would love to see them collectively just get up and kick some butt. And as we know, that's probably not the word I would use. But I just want to see somebody say something. And it's like, do they listen to themselves when they talk?
Yeah.
It's like anytime I see, just even Caroline Leavitt, I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, I look at that woman and I got just aggravated and wanted to, this is so bad. I wanted to make fun of her. So I said to Caroline Leavitt, how did Caroline Leavitt get Michael Jackson's nose? I wrote that as just an experimental piece. That was one of my earlier ones.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes I just get very petty. But it's like I said, it's therapeutic.
Well, that's the reason that your Substack is called the Snarky Correspondent, and I would call it the Snarky Salty Correspondent. But Jody, I appreciate the work that you've been doing, and your posts on Substack are fantastic. And hopefully,
I appreciate that.
And I'd love to do this again because you do write some great stuff, and I'd love to hang out with you a little bit more. So just think about that because what you say is powerful, and I think that organically, when I talk about what we should be doing, these are those moments. This is one of those organic moments, and I'm grateful that you were able to hang out with us this morning.
Oh, me too. No, and gosh, having your praise, that was huge. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Jody, listen, take care of that voice. Get healthy, and we appreciate you spending some time, but take care of yourself, okay?
I will. Thanks, Richard.
All right. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, quick break, 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views, WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM, Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
Is the deluge of digital media killing our ability to focus?
Back in 2004, people averaged about 2.5 minutes on a screen before switching. And today, it averages about 47 seconds.
Psychologist Gloria Mark is the author of the book Attention Span.
We develop habits. People who spend time watching short-form video like TikTok or scrolling on social media get their attention fragmented because there's this very rapid switch of content. And of course, that affects us.
How does she maintain focus?
I'm very diligent in trying to stay focused for a period of time and become aware of when I'm starting to become fatigued. If I am, it's time to step back, take a break.
With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Start off the new year on a healthier note by taking Active Liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. President Trump is expected to address attendees at the World Economic Forum in the next few hours. Trump's address in the Swiss town of Davos will focus on his America First agenda. A White House official speaking on condition of anonymity says Trump will also speak about his plans for U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere and may also speak about his push to acquire Greenland and what's next for Venezuela after the U.S. captured its former leader, Nicolás Maduro. Another topic expected to draw attention is Trump's Board of Peace, the group tasked with overseeing the Gaza ceasefire plan. A White House official says about 30 countries are expected to join, but did not provide details on which countries were joining. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff says he plans to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian delegation.
I'm hopeful that all meetings will go well on that subject. We need a peace.
Witkoff made the comments to reporters on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum. Yesterday, Russian President Envoy Kirill Dmitriev met with Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, in Davos, and told reporters afterward that the meetings were going constructively. The U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear arguments this morning over Trump's effort to oust Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Trump announced last year he was firing Cook over allegations that she committed mortgage fraud, something she has denied. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is expected to attend today's arguments. In Spain's northeastern Catalonia region, commuter rail service was suspended today after a Barcelona commuter train crashed the night before. At least one person was killed and 37 others injured. This is AP News. U.S. futures were higher and world shares traded mixed ahead of President Trump's speech to the World Economic Forum. The Federal Trade Commission says it's not going to drop its allegations that Meta is a monopoly.
The Federal Trade Commission says it's going to appeal a federal judge's November ruling in a historic antitrust case against Meta. The FTC alleges that for more than a decade, Meta Platforms has illegally maintained a monopoly in social networking. A ruling against Meta would have forced it to spin off its Instagram and WhatsApp. But following a trial, federal judge James Boasberg ruled the company does not hold a monopoly in social networking. Meta says in a statement that the court's decision was correct and that it will remain focused on innovating and investing in America. I'm Donna Warder.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme cold watch will go into effect here early Friday morning. We're looking at a few spotty snow showers at times here for today, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high in the lower 30s. Winds out of the southwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. Tonight, a chance for some snow, areas of blowing snow likely with cloudy skies, a low near 13. Thursday, a slight chance for snow, late a high of 25. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks again to Jody Martin for hanging out with us this morning for a little bit, and I hope that throat of hers gets better. And always, it's always a pain in the behind if you have a sore throat and scratchy throat, but if you got to talk. So, thanks, Jody. Again, tune in today. This afternoon, I'll be sitting in for Joan Esposito, talking to Rachel Bidikofer, Aurora, Illinois Mayor John Lash, Aaron Kleinman, head of research here at Heartland Signal, Hal Sparks from the Hal Sparks radio program, and Bobby Kogan, senior director of the federal budget policy at the Center for American Progress. It's Wednesday, and I know that I always look forward to our time with Kurt. And so with that being said, let's welcome to the show our good friend, Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. Good morning, Kurt.
Hey, Richard. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I was feeling for our friend Jody, who, my goodness, that throat of hers was...
Yeah, I'm going to have to check her out. She didn't sound too good, but I got to check her Substack out.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. She's written a number of really, really good articles, and I saw that one, and in alignment with where we are right now with Greenland and Davos, it just hit me the right way, and I was like, you know what? Let me see what we can do to get her on, because...
absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Great discussion.
Thank you, man. The organic part of what we do here. I mean, this is how you and I met. When you think about it, you and I started talking. Is that I just saw something that you had posted, and then I started following, and I said, "Man, this dude is nailing it." And so here we are. Hey, so who knows? We'll see.
One little bit of. I don't want to say criticism, but yesterday when you started out the show and talking about sports.
I forgot something. I'm sorry. I know, brother. I'm so sorry, man.
Indiana Hoosiers, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
I wanted to text you, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to.
No, you should have. You should have said something, because here's the thing. Here's the thing that's great about this, and great about our conversation. I know you're smiling and blushing. Is that you guys have got? I tell folks this all the time. But Kurt posted this video that had me snorting, laughing, of the. Well, you know which one I'm talking about, so you describe it.
Which one?
With the dancing around in the costume, with the woman, with the big hair. Oh, come on. You know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, Tara Hoot. Yeah, Tara Hoot. Yeah, Tara Hoot. She lives in D.C., and I'm friends with her on Instagram. She's a drag queen. She goes around D.C. and holds story hour for children. And I met her through another friend that I've made, Robin Sater, a photographer, who is just absolutely fabulous and has won awards. But anyway, Tara Hoot, Tarahoot, is from Terre Haute, Indiana. So we met this way, and she put on out a video the other day, dressed in her drag queen garb, crimson and cream, promoting Indiana. So
right.
it was excellent. And I had to share it, man.
Yeah.
She was.
Well, the cool
I
thing
just
about
love
it
her
is
to death.
it spoke to the kudos to the football squad, and that was kind of the neat part about it. So, but yes, congratulations, and you did predict without any waiver that it was going to happen that way. So.
I did. I was a little nervous during the game. I knew it was going to be a tough game. Of course, there were some missed calls like there was in every game that's played. But I was nervous, but I had faith, and I think people finally got to realize who Fernando Mendoza is and his story.
Yeah.
And just that play that he scored a touchdown on. Will go down as one of the greatest, that will be along with the catch and, the fumble and, all of those,
parts of the game.
What's his face from Boston College, the heave, the quarterback who threw that, 60-yard Hail Mary to beat Miami way back when.
Yeah,
anyway,
was that Doug Flutie?
Yeah,
I think that was Doug Flutie. Who quarterbacked the Bears for a period of time.
About everybody else. So.
But that's true. That's true.
But anyway, sorry to get off track.
No. Well, in the bigger conversation about Mendoza, I mean, I think the immigration part of his story is really, we won't take the time to talk about it today, but you guys should Google this young man, and he talks about his family's, plight to the United States is really a part of the bigger conversation about where we are with immigration and what we've done to change so many people's lives in a positive way, rather than, killing people on the street, snatching kids out of school, and all the rest of the things that ICE is doing right now. Kurt posted, and I'm gonna merge a couple things here. Our good friend Sarah Jones from the Daily posted a great article talking about bombshell report finds Trump cost American families more than $1,600 in 2025. It's a data-based piece. It's not, an opinion piece. These are real numbers. And then Kurt had the gall to put in a breaking story or breaking data. The U.S. lost 68,000. Let me put my glasses on and get this right. 68,000 manufacturing jobs last year in the wake of Trump's tariffs. And I love the headline to what you said. Get the straitjacket out. It's time. So let's talk.
That was a meme that I found online that I wanted to share, and I couldn't find the original source for it. I don't like to share people that repost stuff. I want to find the original source, so I couldn't find that. But anyway, I posted it, and I always try to put music that kind of goes with it too. And the music I put with it was, "They're coming to take me away." They're coming to take me away. So that's not a very good impersonation of it, but people need to see it. But yeah, it's it slams home. And then I found one from Courier News yesterday that went through the numbers of last year. That just is, when you start looking at them, and then of course MAGA gets on there and defends him. So anyway, it's shocking what he has done to our country, and
68,000 manufacturing jobs.
Yes.
And so when I look at a number like that, and we'll talk about that first, and then we'll pivot to Sarah's article. When I think about that, I think about it as it relates to this conversation around hospitals closing in communities. And so it's the hospital that closes, and then it's the people that work, it's the people that are cared for, and it's the people that work there, and it's the surrounding community that bears the brunt of that loss of revenue, income, sales dollars, all the rest from the people that are part of that facility. So the community bears the brunt of that. And in many cases, those communities just happen to be red voting communities. Same thing here with the manufacturing. Those manufacturing jobs, 68,000. Where they're concentrated is really it's not as relevant as that they are jobs that are going to impact not just the people that lost the jobs, but the communities that they live in, and how those dollars go toward the businesses in those communities, which will then ultimately suffer. And corporate media is not talking about it that way. They're just talking about it as a way to kind of deflect and defend, frankly, Donald Trump and the administration. What say you, my friend, on that?
No, I mean, you're exactly right. And it's funny when you talk about these places or businesses or whatever it is that are closing in these red states or that red states are affected. MAGA always likes to pivot and blame it on the blue cities that are included in those red states. And, it's just like here in Indiana, we've been under Republican control, trifecta control for, 22 years or 18 out of the last 22 years now. And, okay, we have some blue cities, but they're not what's burning down the state. It's the Republicans that are burning down the state in their leadership. And that's why we're at the bottom of the metric on almost every standard that's gauged in this country. We're worst environmentally, and here we are pushing AI data centers that are going to continue to pollute and destroy the farmland that we already are. We have the most polluted waterways in the country. Think about that. Right next door to Illinois, and you're Wabash River, you're bordering one of the rivers that's one of the most polluted in the country. So, and this is not because of blue cities. Mm-mm. This is because of Republican leadership. This is because of the people who are in charge making the policies and doing the things that they are doing. And it's just appalling to me, the stupidity of MAGA and their just blatant ignorance and their refusal to accept anything negative that this guy is doing. I mean, he is by far the worst president this country has ever seen.
Certainly in our lifetime.
And absolutely. And looking at what's going on, I spent my time yesterday watching a lot of the British Parliament and the people speaking over there. He doesn't understand what he is doing. And, okay, we may be the strongest military in the world. That's right. But there's some strength in countries around this world that will come together. And I think a lot of them have been waiting to the opportunity to put the United States in their place, because the way, it's one of those fine line things. We got to be allies, but then again, we have to take their abuse. So I think it's gotten to the point to where now they're starting to realize, hey, we could hurt them in so many other ways, and that's what we're going to do. It's just like I read an article about Denmark. Do you know that 80% of the insulin in America comes from Denmark?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what will happen to the health of people in our country if Denmark says, hey, you know what? No more insulin. Now, that will be a huge hit to their market, but people need to understand countries are willing to do anything in order to save themselves. And this is a perfect example. So anyway, sorry.
No. Great point. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we are speaking with our good friend, Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. And Kurt was just reflecting on what other countries that have been our allies for such a long time, they're having to sit back, and they have been sitting back and saying, how are we going to navigate this? And who are our other allies that we need to be partnering with to protect ourselves and be ready if, unfortunately, we may have to go on the offensive economically. And God forbid, average American families, more than $1,600 in 2025. That's another example of where this is just an a dude that's in the White House, not even going to call him president, as best I can, avoid it, and an administration or regime, and not even a GOP, a grand old party, because there's nothing grand about them at this point. They are, and Kurt, I say this often during the course of a week's 5 day shows. We have to keep talking about it, because I think that the moment we stop talking about it and then at the same time come up with solutions, new people like you're doing with your work to get into the fight, the moment we stop doing that is the moment that they will take over. They will get what they want, which is us to be silent and in some cases be complicit with this carnage that they're raining down on the country. And now the world, Greenland. I mean, what the like Jody said, what the blank? I mean, seriously.
You gotta do the is saying he wants to give $100,000 to each citizen of Greenland in order just to buy them off, and then you have who is she, the agriculture secretary or whatever, comes out and tells everybody that they did a study that it only costs $15 a day for 3 rounded meals. I mean, are you? I did some research on that yesterday because I feel like I'm being pulled on all different directions on the national level, trying to keep up with all that and then what's going on in our state. And but I did a research on it, and for $15 a day, basically what you can purchase, or what they say you would need to have, because it came on the approach of you don't have much money to spend, so what can you feed yourself with? Eggs, rice, beans. This is the kind. There was no food or no meat or protein, absolutely at all, except peanut butter. Okay, that is what you would have to construct your 3 meals a day in order to survive on $15 a day. So where they are getting these figures, it's just, I don't know. It's just another proof of the out of touch way that this regime, these billionaires, are with what's going on in our country. I mean, I would even go as far to say I don't think you can live on $15 a day and have 3 meals.
Well,
I think it would be tough for you to have.
Here's the thing, Kurt. Whether one can or cannot, what you're talking about is who you're talking about, and I so appreciate you bringing this up. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Yeah, she said that.
You go. Yeah, thank you.
No. I just being honest. I looked it up while you were talking, because I wanted to make sure that we get this right. What she said is this is basically Americans could get a nutritious meal consisting of a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a corn tortilla, and, quote, other things for just $3 were meant to have that as a robust plate of food. And when I saw it, listen, when I saw it, don't get me started. It's a good thing you and I were in the same room, because there's some words that probably would have come out of our mouths that our mothers would have been like, all right, boys, let's straighten that up a little bit. But the problem that I have with the statement, I have a bunch of problems, but the top problem I have with it is that who in the hell is she to tell anybody how much food they should consume, how they should consume it, what it should be, that's not her job. That's not her place. But this is the same Republican Party and many folks in the corporate media, some strategists and others, that always want to say the Democrats are about controlling you. When in fact, this to me, telling people how much a piece of broccoli, give me a break. But yet we're the party that's not in touch with everyday Americans. And to tell everyday Americans that this is what they should be eating and how much they should be spending on it. See, that you can't put me in a room with her, because I would verbally eat her alive, because it's not only insanity and stupid and all those other words that we could throw at it. It's just flat out inconsiderate. It's just arrogance, bleeding arrogance, and just inconsideration, lack of consideration for people.
There's not enough adjectives that you can find to describe that kind of narrative. It's just off the wall. It's psychopathic thinking, or it's just being a lunatic. It's being, I don't know, whatever.
It's all of those things, and we should be proud. Listen, we should be proud to say it and call it out, because what she said is just disrespectful to the people that they say that they give a damn about, when in fact they really don't. You're going to say, here's what you should be eating, and you can get by on this little bit of food. I mean, really? But yet the left are the elitist. The Democrats are the elitist. That's an elitist statement coming from. And so when I get upset about people going after, like I said at the beginning of the show, going after Obama, going after Biden, going after Harris and Clinton for what they're not saying about ICE, when we've got people saying this kind of garbage, oh, Lord help me.
Right. Not paying attention. And you know, I agree with you on a lot of levels as far as not attacking the Democrats, and I think we have to be careful with that. But I also think it needs to be done because we have to pay attention to some of these people and what they have done. And one of the things, and I know we're running out of time, but one of the things that we're fighting here in Indiana right now that I've been having to put a lot of my time in is Bo Bai, who is running for Secretary of State against my good friend Blythe Potter, who is a progressive grassroots candidate who's getting her money from the people, okay, against Bo Bai, who is a millionaire's kid who's had a silver spoon in his hand his entire life, hasn't lived in Indiana, and is taking millions of dollars now. He's up to like $1.3 million, and a lot of it is coming from MAGA donors from out of state. And we just discovered one of the dudes is a guy by the name of Mark Rowan, who is a MAGA Republican from New York. He is the co-founder and CEO of Apollo Globe Management, who Evan Bayh, which is Bo's dad, has worked for since 2011. He sits on the Trump's Board of Peace for Gaza with Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner. He's in those two. Okay. He also is the architect of Trump's higher education compact, which is that deal that is banning affirmative action, and that they're presenting to universities and saying if you don't follow these standards, we're going to pull federal funding for you. They're rejecting campus protests. They're doing away with gender identity, conservative. Protecting all of their conservative ideas. I mean, this is who this guy is. And he's also a big advocate for the school voucher program. And this is all part of the higher education compact. So when we discover things like this, we have to expose this and ask, why is this going on? And why is our Indiana State Democratic Party protecting him and promoting him?
Well, I mean,
why are we doing this?
I don't have. I'm not going to say I have the answer, but I will say that I have an observation about this. A couple of things. One, I'm not saying we don't call out Democrats when they do something that needs to be called out. That's never come out of my mouth, and it never will. And I can't use the word never to describe that. I'm saying we can't just be willy-nilly attacking Democrats when they're doing the best that they can and doing the right things. Now, where his money is coming from, where Bo Bai's money is coming from, if it's funky, then we need to call it out. There's no two ways about that. If it's funky, we call it out and follow the money. That's a conversation that we should have. I think we have to be careful, and we've said this before, of the purity test. I mean, but what you're going to be faced with in Indiana, and you know this as well as anybody. If Blythe gets the nomination, then thank goodness we've got someone that's probably going to be more in line with what's right for more people in Indiana. But if Bo gets the nomination, what we can't let happen, I believe, is that a Republican, because we splinter off, ends up sliding in the back door because of that splintering, and that's the delicate balance. And I think that's true in a lot of red districts and red states. When you've got a statewide election, that's that very hard needle to thread, but it doesn't change the fact that we need to isolate when if that money's funky, then people need to know about it. Because then what it forces him to do during a conversation or a debate, it forces him to speak to that and where that money is coming from. We've got a similar situation here in Illinois with Raja Krishnamurthy. He's taken some money indirectly from some people that have been MAGA-esque and et cetera. So, and I have to be careful with how I say that, but we've got a similar situation here. He's running for a Durban seat against Lieutenant Governor Stratton and Congresswoman Kelly. So we have to call it out when we see it. I just don't want us to be the first thing that comes out of our mouth to be where we're just it's like low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? To criticize it for criticism's sake. But no, if the money's funky, then it's got to be. We got to talk about it. So
Right. I think you need, if you're going to speak out against it, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have the facts in line, and you have to be firm about what you're saying and not be degrading and try to create division, because regardless of what you say, you're going to create division. I shared one more point, and then I'm going to go because I know you got to go. Well, I shared a video about Chuck Schumer the other day when a reporter asked Tom Homan about this regime taking credit for the Chips and Science Acts and the things that are happening from them. And Schumer jumped in and said, "We're not going to go there. Let me answer that." And he took away a time when someone was asking Homan a question that could have put him on
his heels,
put him on the spot. Yeah. And instead, Chuck Schumer interrupts and said, "No, we're not going to go there. We're not. This is not." And it was like, Chuck, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
why
when
would you do that? Let him. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I have a problem with. I mean, my God.
If you don't have a problem with that, then that's the problem. We should be talking about that.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. We, it's got to be called out. It's got to be called out.
It does. It does. It's a fine line. You're exactly right, and I appreciate what we need some level voices in it. Because there are a lot of us that can be a little bit extreme when it comes to that. So, level thoughts. We need people that ground us. So, and we know that about each other. So it's
absolutely.
So.
All right, man. It's time for us to both take a deep breath. Me for a commercial break, and you for just one in general.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. I hate yard work, but what I hate even more is shoveling snow, and we've been getting a lot of it around.
Yes, we have. All right, man.
We got 10 inches the other night. So, hey, have a good day.
All right. Be well. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM. From Warren County, North Carolina, I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Stephanie Miller here. If eating is stressing you out, you're not alone. There's so much confusion around food. One day something's good for you, the next day it's not. No wonder digestion can feel chaotic. What I learned from the Tummy Whisperer is reassuring your body isn't broken, it's communicating. It needs proper guidance. That's why I trust Renee Barish at Digestive Health Solutions as a certified digestive health specialist. Renee works one-to-one, helping people make sense of their symptoms without extremes or overwhelming them. If you've changed your diet and feel the same or worse, if bloating, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, and low energy are running your life, Renee will help you connect the dots. Digestion will calm down, food can feel easy again, and you don't have to figure it all out alone. You've got the Tummy Whisperer. Learn more at thetummywhisperer.com or call Renee at 847-207-2034. One more time, that's 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme cold watch will go into effect here early Friday morning. We're looking at a few spotty snow showers at times here for today, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high in the lower 30s. Winds out of the southwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. Tonight, a chance for some snow, areas of blowing snow likely with cloudy skies, a low near 13. Thursday, a slight chance for snow, late, a high of 25. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 29.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
He's not here to yell. He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot. This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. Thanks to Kurt Mullett for hanging with us this morning. Really appreciate him chiming in and keeping us plugged into what's happening. All Rise News is, what can I say? Some of the best legal writing that you'll find. And the gentleman that is the editor-in-chief and one of the owners of that platform is with us this morning. Adam Klasfeld has been reporting on all things legal for quite a long time. And his his site, All Rise News, really speaks to that. You've seen him on MSNBC. I say MSNBC, but I guess it's MS Now. I wonder how many people get in trouble when they say it's not MSNBC, it's MS News now. But in any event, Adam's with us this morning. I'm really happy to have him joining here this, because today's Wednesday? Yeah. Adam, welcome to Choose Views. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Doing very well. Thanks for that very kind introduction.
Kindness that was earned, my man. You have really been putting it down when it comes to covering legal matters and writing about them in a way that is captivating and gets people's attention and holds people's attention. But tell us a little bit about Adam. Tell them a little bit about your background and, your work with putting together All Rise News.
Well, thank you so much. I will say off the bat, you had it right. It was MSNBC when I was working for them. So I had worked for MS Now, when I was covering Donald Trump's criminal trial in Manhattan criminal court. I've been a legal journalist for about 20 years almost now. I've covered a number of both criminal and civil cases. And why I founded All Rise News, it was at the beginning of Trump's second term, and I thought that a new approach was needed to legal journalism to really make the stakes absolutely clear. And I had noticed with people who had been following trials that shape our democracy, shape the rule of law, looking for some sort of deus ex machina, looking for a verdict, looking for a ruling that would right the ship. And how I approach legal journalism is there is actionable information that is coming out of the courts, verified through the rules of evidence all the time, and that should be empowering to readers to know what's what. Regardless of how a particular ruling comes out, look at the legal news, the news coming out of the courts as a barometer of your rights.
I love the way you put that in terms of informing and providing people with information. And right now, the question. So let me say two things in that space. One, it's a thing that I try to do. I don't always hit the mark, but that's my goal every day is to be somewhat informative and provide folks with some content, some conversation that says we've got opportunities here. We can win this fight. And in many cases, Adam, it's because of what the legal system is still intact to do, given what this president and his regime have been doing and will certainly continue to do. So to that end, what's happening with this? Are our courts, in your observation and your experience right up front, are they holding? Will they hold if you think that they are holding?
I will say the pushback through the courts has been potent. Just yesterday, we saw essentially Lindsay Halligan in the Eastern District of Virginia being forced out. Yes, she was forced out of her position. It's been reported by some news wires inaccurately as she is leaving her position. No, she never held this position. She was ruled to have been serving as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia for the express purpose, for the express purpose of prosecuting Trump's perceived enemies, James Comey and Letitia James. Failing in that effort, it gets dismissed when a federal judge said that she was appointed, installed essentially in that post unconstitutionally, illegally. She continues to, in the words of another federal judge, masquerade in that position until the judge strikes her title and warns her that if she continues in that, again, quoting the federal judge, charade, she will face disciplinary proceedings. A third judge posts a job listing for her replacement, and then she is, quote unquote, leaving her post. So this is just an example of what we see time and again of the people using the institutions to fight back, and people who occupy those seats of power, really trying to right the ship. And, you might notice I'm hesitating to attribute that pushback to an area abstraction called the institution, the courts. No, these are, people who are asserting their rights. These are federal judges who are coming under unprecedented attack, where we're seeing a proliferation of threats against federal judges who rule against Trump, who nonetheless, and this particular judge whose ruling led to the forcing out of Lindsay Halligan, U.S. District Judge David Novak, is a Trump appointee who was attacked by no lesser than in the Justice Department than Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, writing a very disrespectful brief accusing him of rudimentary and elementary legal errors, saying that he's launched an inquisition. The judge, in answering that, said that he found their rhetoric more fitting of a cable news talk show than a litigant inside a courtroom representing the Department of Justice. What we're seeing is everyday people and judges and in the court system, not with a 100% record, but actually mounting a potent pushback that causes real change. Who would have thought last year in March, when, for example, when hundreds of men were whisked out without any due process to a CCOT prison in El Salvador, that one of the people most vilified in that campaign, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, would have, Kristi Noem not too long ago said he will never, ever be back in the United States. Well, he's won a series of rulings and is now allowed to be in his Maryland home awaiting trial. So I think that the power of pushback has been a constant in Trump 2.0.
It really has, and it's needed to be, and that's why I wanted to get your opinion, your observation, and experience in that space. So I'm going to bounce around, but not recklessly, because I gotta get your thoughts on this. The DOJ basically said, "Nah, Minneapolis, we're not going to let y'all do the work to find out what the hell went on with the assassination, as I call it, the murder of Renee Good." So when you sit back and look at that, how does that impact you? And then what are your thoughts about that?
So I think that is a perfect example of what we were talking about. It could seem daunting when the federal government, right after all of these videos come out, we can see with our own eyes what happened during that encounter, and they reach a decision that it's not worth investigation. And you know what? They're going to use the weight and force of the federal government to investigate the widow of the victim and the leaders, the local leaders who are calling for and demanding and executing investigations. But what do we have right now? Renee Good's family has retained the same law firm behind George Floyd's. They are they're doing their own investigation. So is the state of Minnesota in a joint investigation with Hennepin County. I would expect that that will advance. That is not going, that is not going away. And we found already from the 911 transcripts are already starting to contradict the federal government's narrative. We thought, and I think most of the news media referred to 3 shots. We now know there were 4. Mm-hmm. They were not all to the head. We found out from those transcripts that Renee Good had a pulse when she was encountered by paramedics. Where that goes in terms of an investigation to law enforcement's obligations, we've all seen the video of a doctor on the scene requesting access, which, who knows, could have been life-saving at that moment. Yep. So it's, I guess, what I've been saying in connecting that with other cases and other stories we've been hearing about isn't so much about faith in a system or an institution, but in the enduring power of pushback on a time that our system comes under unprecedented strain, even with the weight and force of the federal government trying to sweep this under the rug. We have people coming together, private law firms coming together, who at a time when private law firms are being targeted by the federal government and by Donald Trump himself with executive orders, people are saying, you know what? I'll risk retaliation. I'll risk intimidation. I will risk retribution. People are coming out onto the streets in record numbers. And I think that those antibodies to attacks on our democratic body politic are in full force. And that's, I think, again, the running theme of Trump 2.0, that even under unprecedented attack, even under unprecedented strain, I would expect that the state investigation is going to proceed. We're going to learn more about, for example, which of the shots was the fatal shot. Did the first shot that they are using to claim some sort of justification even hit her? And if it didn't, what justification do you have to shoot an unarmed woman from the side of her car, when from the side of the car it's not even arguably facing you? So there's so much to this, is that there are procedures, there are pushback methods that can happen and are happening every day in many different cases.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with Adam Klasfeld, who is one of the top journalists, legal journalists in the country, editor-in-chief and owner of All Rise News. Every time I read your stuff, Adam, and I think All Rise, I can't get my head away from. I feel like I'm an episode of Law and Order. So not to take away from the brilliance of your writing, man, but just like it hits me that way.
Oh yeah. It was intentional. I mean, when I came up with that name, I definitely thought of that as a play on words. One, I'm a legal journalist for 20 years. It's a phrase that I hear all the time. All rise.
I hear you.
Court officers will come in and everyone stands. They rise for the jury or the judge, who are the finders of fact. So that's play on words number one. Play on words number two, the people rising up on the streets. There are people who are rising in civic engagement and any other way. So that's what I thought, why I landed on that name for All Rise News, because it was, I felt, a slogan for our time.
Yeah, and it really is, and I knew that was part of in your DNA in terms of not only the name, but kind of the belief that we have that responsibility to each other and the legal system. Here's the crazy thing about that, Adam, and I know that you see this maybe more readily and daily than many people. When we as individuals all rise and push the legal system, we have we've got books, we've got volumes of books of when the citizenry does rise up. Though it's ironic, but maybe by design, that our legal system takes note of it and sort of steels itself to do the thing that's right for the majority of people that are rising up. Does that make sense, how I'm putting that? I mean, I think
that makes...
We're coming off of King Holiday, and we're like, they rose up and pushed the legal system to say, oh, you know what, we unfortunately, maybe unwillingly, we got to deal with this. What are your thoughts there?
I think that's right on the money, and I'll tell you a sterling example of that. There is a recent ruling out of Minnesota in a case where you might have seen a viral video of a woman being arrested in Minnesota. Because that woman became a plaintiff in the case, she litigated it, and a federal judge issued a ruling out of Minnesota that had basically had blocked the government from retaliating against protesters for the exercise of their First Amendment rights. So I think that we see this every day, that it's very easy. And by the way, the case is called Tincher v. Nome, and the party there, I believe her name is Susan Tincher. So we forget that these are real people. These are real people in these videos who, you see the case caption, but behind every case caption, behind every party is a person who has decided to stand up for their rights and fight it out in a court. So, yes, the courts respond to popular movement. I mean, she would not have been there. She would not have been in court had she not been at that demonstration and had her rights violated. And that's the source of all this. This isn't abstraction. Mm-hmm. This is power struggle.
And it's real time, and it's also happening to every regular, everyday citizen. So, yeah, again, when we all rise, when we stand up, when we fight, ultimately we push hard enough, the legal system has to take note of it. Adam, let me ask you this question. I know we got a few minutes before we wrap up, but let me ask you this. What would you say, and this puts you not on the spot, but it probably makes you kind of go back into the Wayback Machine. What's been the most shocking legal decision that you've witnessed, that you've covered in your 20 years of doing this?
It's a tough one, but I think the most impactful was Trump v. United States, the immunity decision. I was covering all of Trump's criminal cases, not only the one in New York that went to trial. I was covering the two Jack Smith cases and and also the Georgia case, most of them on the scene. I was down on the ground in Fort Pierce, Florida, for the classified documents case where violations of the Espionage Act were alleged, the January 6th case in Washington, D.C. And that decision and how long it took to get to that decision had generational consequences in terms of a reckoning on would these ever come to trial. I mean, there was a path, but because the court had waited so long and had granted this unprecedented criminal immunity under the circumstances they did, had really lasting impact. But, there are so many, the Dobbs decision, it's hard to rank.
Citizens United was one that you've leaned into your thoughts there as well.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the courts shape our lives, and they're a barometer of our power. And one of the surprising things as a journalist is covering a lot of jury trials and seeing how common people can shape the fate of nations. I mentioned I covered Trump's criminal trial. I've also covered trials that involve foreign governments and can have international implications, and juries can be entirely unpredictable. But I have great faith in the jury system, by the way. But it's always a very surprising process. If we assume that Nicolás Maduro will go to trial in the United States, there will be a jury deciding the international consequences of that case. And the fact that common people, all of us, have a say in that moment, that we are called upon to listen to the evidence and to render decisions that affect the world internationally, is a startling thing.
Yeah, it's an immense amount of power and influence. So I'll say this, I'll ask a question, and then we'll kind of wrap up. First of all, we got to have you back, because one of the things that we have learned is, and what I would really try hard to do, and thankful to so many of our guests, is having folks who are subject matter experts are certainly great levels of experience on our show. And I know our listeners all over the country want to hear more of the legal pieces that are out there that, people are either reporting on or actually attorneys that are part of cases. So put it on your whiteboard to be on Choose View again, my man, because people want to hear from folks like you to help sort of navigate through these murky legal waters right now. So that's the thing I'll say. The question I'm going to ask you is, what keeps you in the fight? I mean, you've been doing this for 20 years and you've seen some decisions that blew your ears off, and then you've seen some that made you feel really, really good about our legal system. So what keeps you, Adam, in the fight as a journalist in this space?
Well, I think I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to watch history unfold in front of me. And that's how I view my job, that I get to see and witness and describe to people the cases that shape our nation, the power struggles that shape our nation. I can speak as a journalist, through interviews to people who are shaping the world that we live in. So in terms of that, I just view myself as incredibly fortunate. It animates me. I love my job. So it doesn't. It's not a kind of question of how do I get out of bed in the morning. I wait and try and join the fight again. It's more a question of how lucky am I to be able to witness history and have a forum to share what happened and my thoughts on it as routinely as I do.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Adam, it's been great to have you with us this morning. Editor-in-chief and owner of All Rise News, fearless reporting, really getting after what's taking place in our legal world and doing it with the aplomb that he does it is just fascinating. I appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us this morning. I'd love to do it again. Let our listeners know how they can find you, Adam, and how they can dig into some of the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, and would love to do it again, too. You can find out my work by going to www.allrisenews.com or All Rise News on Substack. If you subscribe, you'll get alerts when I'm either speaking live during a live stream or breaking some news that is coming right outside of right in the courts. So you can also find me on YouTube and throughout social media.
Fantastic. Adam, thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Stay safe. I know we're all dealing with all kinds of craziness, but stay safe and stay in the fight. And we appreciate you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Happy to come back anytime.
All right, my man. Be well. Talk to you soon. All right, guys. What can I tell you? We made it. We got here. Destination. Listen, I'm going to be back in a few hours on sitting in for Joan and talking to Rachel Bidikofer, Aurora Mayor John Lash, Aaron Kleinman, Hal Sparks, Bobby Kogan, as I'll be sitting in for Joan Esposito on Live, Local, and Progressive. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to Henry. Thanks to Mike for making sure we stay on the rails. And stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show. Remember, take a deep breath and make your life count. I'll see you a little bit later today.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moreelawoffice.com, spelled Moree. I look forward to speaking with you.
WCPT Replay.
Speaking with Wendell Young, the vice chairman of the Chicago Wolves, and he is the newest inductee in the 2026 AHL Hall of Fame class.
There's one goalie in particular that I think you had a front row seat for history, and that's Manon Rheaume when she became the first female NHL player in that preseason game.
I walk into the rink, and Phil and Tony Esposito, when they're kind of talking, they're like, we got to put Manon in. Everyone's here. The rink is packed. All the media's here. But what happens if she plays bad? And I go, this is your worry? They go, you're going to play the first 2 periods, Wendell. She's going to play the third. And I go, you're going to let her sit around for 3 or 4 hours, worrying, being stretched, warm up, and then tight, and then have to go in and waiting for that. I go, start her. If things don't go well for her, I go 10 minutes in. I said, I'll go in and just say that was our plan. We're just splitting the periods. And then I go, that's your out. So she goes in and plays unbelievable. I go in, and the rink starts chanting, put the girl back in.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says President Trump's 10% import tax on goods from 8 nations that have rallied around Denmark and Greenland is not a mistake, as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said.
We're not putting a 10% tariff on Greenland. We're putting a 10% tariff on the 8 countries that chose to send troops to Greenland. I mean, for those countries to activate their troops, I'm not sure what signal that's supposed to send.
Bessent spoke ahead of Trump's arrival to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. He urged the European Union to wait for Trump to arrive and said he believes Europeans will be persuaded to support Trump's concerns about Greenland once they hear his argument. Global markets mostly declined today while trading on Wall Street stabilized somewhat ahead of Trump's speech to the World Economic Forum. Iran's foreign minister issued the most direct threat yet against the U.S. after Tehran's bloody crackdown on protesters. Abbas Araghchi warned that the Islamic Republic will be, quote, firing back with everything we have if we come under renewed attack. In other news, the AP's Mike Pasoli reports there's a baby in the vice president's future.
Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, Second Lady Usha Vance, are expecting their 4th child. The couple announced Tuesday that Usha Vance is pregnant with a boy who is expected to be born in late July. The announcement comes as the Republican vice president has spent years passionately advocating for Americans to have more children. The baby will join the Vances' other 3 kids, Yuan, Vivek, and Maribel. The couple took to social media to thank military doctors and staff members.
More on this story at apnews.com. This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. 9-time All-Star Carlos Beltran and 10-time Gold Glove winner Andrew Jones have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Beltran received 84.2% of the vote and Jones got 78.4%. The New York Mets acquired center fielder Luis Robert Jr. in a trade with the Chicago White Sox. NBA, a 38-point triple-double from Luka Doncic helped the Lakers overcome a 16-point second-half deficit to beat the Nuggets 115-107.
It definitely was a big moment for us.
College hoops, unranked UCLA snapped number 4 Purdue's 9-game win streak after Tyler Bilodeau's late go-ahead 3 sealed a 69-67 upset victory. And in tennis, Arina Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, and Carlos Alcaraz all advanced to the 3rd round at the Australian Open. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme cold watch will go into effect here early Friday morning. We're looking at a few spotty snow showers at times here for today, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high in the lower 30s. Winds out of the southwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. Tonight, a chance for some snow, areas of blowing snow likely with cloudy skies, a low near 13. Thursday, a slight chance for snow, late, a high of 25. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Jose and Laura came to Brookfield Tax Planning worried about their taxes. After their free, no-obligation tax reduction review, they discovered they'd been overpaying $8,100 every year for 28 years. That's $227,000 of hard-earned money gone forever. Why? Jose and Laura's financial advisor did nothing to reduce their taxes, and their accountant records history after the year ends, when it's too late to use legal, proactive tax reduction strategies for business owners and retirees. 94% of Brookfield's clients discover they've wasted thousands for years due to passive advisors. Brookfield Tax Planning reviews your returns free and can show you how much you're overpaying, how to plan ahead now to stop it. You risk nothing. But this may be the most profitable hour you'll invest all year. Call Brookfield Tax Planning at 708-485-3439 or visit BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com. That's BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com.
After my wife died, I felt like I lost everything, including my love of fishing. But one day, my granddaughter called, and I realized I still had a lot to look forward to. I got referred to a psychiatrist who explained depression can happen to anyone. Getting help doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger. I just wish it made me better at fishing.
Mental health care is working for Diego. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.